streets and showing the light to them. They cannot deliver themselves. They cannot rescue themselves. Their madness is being legalized. I don't have to talk about the evil conspiracy of medicals and pharmaceuticals. Before, when we thought something is organic, we believe. I don't know if you can believe now. Everything, all the labels now is organic. Before we go around, we search for organic. But today, when you see an orange that has no seed and it is still organic. When you see watermelon that is as sweeter than sugar and the label is still organic. The thing is getting worse. And then guess what? We are distracted like that drama by biscuit. We are distracted by gossips. So we get ourselves engaged in distractions. And the world is getting destroyed. He said, with you, I will break in pieces shepherd and his flock. What does that mean to you? The madness in the church of God can only be cured inside the church, not outside. Doesn't make any sense to us? All the confusion, all the madness, all the atrocities, the solution is not outside. It cannot be solved outside. Everything still has to be solved within. The solution is here. It is when we rise up that this can be solved. But when even the other assignments have not been taken care of, the distractions is too many. But the Lord said, the power to solve all this is among us. Brethren, the reason why I believe the reason why the Lord is bringing these words to us is that many don't even know why they are saved. Because as far as some people are concerned, they are saved so that they can get all their needs met. When that madman of Gadarene, when he was saved, and he came to Jesus and said, let me follow you. Jesus said, no, go back to your people and go and tell them how great things God has done for you. And then the last verse, Bible says that, and he went about Decapolis proclaiming to the people. He became an evangelist straight. You are saved to work. You are saved to save others. You don't yet see the full blessing of God until you rise up to fulfill the purpose for your salvation. He said, with you I will break in pieces shepherd and his flocks. Messages to deal with shepherd must come from the altar. Messages to deal with the flocks must come from the altar. But presently now, in many churches, the reason why the revival is so slow, is so retarded, is that even in many churches, where they're supposed to be pastures, green pastures, we are giving them synthetic grass. It's green. Everything is panel-beated. So green. But raising a program in the church, and the program is dating. And so, how did he arrange it? The youth. He gathered them to one place, take them to the beach. Then he said, come on, associate. Be social. Pick yourself one by one. Ask questions. Ask, talk. And so they televised it, and we saw it in the television. What a born again sitting down with a drink in their front, and they're asking questions. So the pastor take them out for dating. So the two of them. And the pastor said, come on, interact. Come out of your cocoon, talk, deal. Come on, interact, come on. Don't be afraid, don't be shy. Because there is nothing more to teach. He said, with you I will break in pieces the shepherd and his flock. And we should not be afraid of, if there's going to be healing of the church, it's going to come from the altar. Word will come out. Let word come out. But word is not coming in many places. We don't want them to run away. We don't want them to feel offended. We don't want them to feel hurt. We love the crowd. We just want them to come. And we turn our church. Don't go out for disco again. It's here. Come back. Come here. Don't go, whatever you're looking for outside, let's bring it inside here. So there is no word to break into pieces the shepherd and his flocks. He said, with you, I will break in pieces farmers and his yoke of oxen. Do you now see another responsibility of the church? What does that mean to you? Farmers, yoke of oxen, that's business. The business circle, the industries, the solution of it is from inside the church. With you I will break in pieces. The last one, with you I will break in pieces governors and the rulers. What does that mean? The government. Raw word must come out to them. There's going to be healing for the government, it will come from the church. If there's going to be solution to the national problem, it's going to come from the church. So if you look at this, that the Lord said he has raised Jeremiah for, you see that it's an encompassment. It's a general solution. So Jeremiah stands for the church. Jeremiah stands for believers, an ideal believer. Jeremiah stands for you. That is why you are saved. The reason why many children of God are not fully enjoying the Lord is because they are not living according to the reason for their living. So the people who carry the destiny of these people are the people of God in the land. The people who carry the destiny of the young adult, of the youth, wayward youth, of the general public, of the government, of the governors, of the industry. He said, if I send pestilence to my people, if my people shall arise, do you now see the solution? So that if he send pestilence, if he shut the heaven, if he shut the rain off, no one can rise and God will listen except his people. They are the battle axe of God, weapon of war, for their nation of residence. To majority of us here, this is the nation of our residence. This is where God had planted us now. I came from Nigeria. That was my nation of residence. When you see any residence national that does not have the vision of God for that nation, it's part of the problem. That person is part of the problem. Because it is you God is waiting for to open your mouth and decree. He will not listen to the prayers of the unbelievers. He will not listen to the prayers of the politicians. He will not listen to the prayers of the governors or the government. He will listen to the prayers of my people. If my people, it is his people. So as the residents national, majority of us are, this is our nation now. This is where God has brought us and planted us now. Then you will now discover that majority of children of God in the land, majority of the children of God in the land, they even lose focus. Even when there is election, you should have understanding of God's mind. Things that are right to man is not always right to God. Not all the time. So some things may be right for man, but it may not be right for God. It is the responsibility of the church to know. Even when the whole world is going this way, the church must know God's mind. I say, no, this is where God is going. And people will be saying, but this thing, this one is not correct. This party, this president, this man is not okay. Yes, you know it's okay, but this is where God is going. Like the sons of Issachar, knowing the signs of time. But in the church today, no, we don't know anything. There's confusion. We don't know God's mind. We can't read God's handwriting on the wall. In the land of Babylon, the Chaldeans, they could not read God's handwriting on the wall. They called Daniel. Daniel too could not read though. Daniel became the solution. But Daniel came there and he read. After reading it, there was solution. The Chaldeans, the soothsayer, the sorcerers, they could not interpret the dream of Pharaoh. Daniel represents the church. Imagine if Joseph represents the church. Imagine if Joseph appeared before Pharaoh and Pharaoh said the dream. And Joseph also said, well, wise men of Egypt, what do you think? What do you think is the solution? Do you know the surplus time will come? Is that also? And all of them will eat, including the children of God. And then the famine will come. And all of them will die. Including people who are people of God. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 1 to 4. Therefore, I exhort first of all, that supplication, prayer, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men. Verse 2, for kings and all who are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and reverence. This is God's word. Do you know who is this one talking to? He's talking to the believers, talking to the national residents. That is your primary assignment. First of all, he said, I exhort that supplication, prayer, intercessions, giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings and those who are in authority. Why? So that you can lead quiet and peaceable life. Because when you pray for them, they will see right. It is not necessary that believers should be the ruler. It is not necessary if God doesn't want it like that. Pharaoh was an unbeliever. And God directed his heart to open the door for Israel to get out. Nebuchadnezzar was not a believer. But God said, my servant, Nebuchadnezzar, whenever he wants to use a man, he calls him his servant. Either the person has known him or not. He said, Cyrus, my servant, even though thou knowest me not. Because he wants to use him. He could use any man. It is not compulsory to be a believer. Nebuchadnezzar was a stark unbeliever that built image. But to him, God was revealing secret. God was showing him dreams. And God showed him revelation. Show him the revelation of what he will become. And he called Daniel, and Daniel interpreted it. You shall be driven out into the forest 7 years. Daniel interpreted. And very fast, later, he entered into the forest 7 years. Do you know what beat me? Was that God predicted, God said he would be driven to the forest to teach him. And he was driven to the forest 7 years. And God held his throne for him for that 7 years. No overthrow, no coup d'etat. The military did not say our king has gone mad again. Now let's go, let's pick another one. No, God held the throne for him. God occupied that throne. And at the same time supervising him. That the hunters did not kill him. He became a royal beast in the forest. Under God's supervision. When he now came back, and he came back to his reasoning, he declared, he said, God is God. Who is it that God cannot handle? So it's not necessary that you should be believer that should be on the throne. The believer is not there, should not be that you should become mad. He's a madman. He's not a child of God. Who do you expect? What do you expect before? Is the country a country of a believer? But when the church understands their roles, whoever is there in the first place, when preparation to occupy throne is on the spot, and believers are on their feet. The Lord, because if you don't pray, nothing will happen. He said, it's my people that know my name. He was expecting them to cry unto him. Is anybody getting this point? So therefore, we begin to now understand that majority of our problems that ought to be solved in the church is not solved. Instead of it is distractions. We are so distracted. And we are if we now look at the whole situation, what does it mean? Does it not mean that who is the cause of the problem, Seth? Who is the cause? Who is the cause of the problem? Who is supposed to bring solution? Who is supposed to bring solution? Who has failed to bring solution? Who is supposed to decree? Who has failed to decree? Who is fighting instead of decreeing? Who is judging the wisdom of man against the wisdom of God? The church. So, therefore, invariably, whose fault is the entire problem, Seth? Church. But instead we are distracted, we fight against ourselves. We fight against ourselves. This pastor will not talk to this pastor. Is that the assignment we are giving? Is that the assignment we are giving? You are holding a major program in the church. Oh, is that a major program? Next tomorrow, we have a major program here. Everybody must be present. If you are a child of God in this place, you must be there. As if God is not reading hearts. As if God is not studying motives. We begin to run the work of God as if we are running local government assignment. You even forget you are going to heaven safe. We have left our duties. We are doing something else. This is why we need repentance. So we will now very quickly. The second set of people is foreign nationals. Foreign nationals. Majority of us are resident nationals and we are foreign nationals at the same time. That you are in this place, and you are citizen here, has never erased your spiritual DNA of where you come from in God's presence. The example of it was that as Daniel was in Babylon, he was interceding for Jerusalem. He was praying for Jerusalem, but he had already become a Babylonian. He was ruling. He became old and aged in Babylon. I doubt if his body was taken back to Israel. No, he died there. He was ruling in the palace. He was sought after. The first president come, they asked him. Second president, he was there. Third president, he was there. Darius, he was there. He became so old. But he was pleading, interceding for Israel, the desolation of Jerusalem. It is the same thing. But I have come to discover on many occasions that even people who come from Africa here, they hate their country. And yes, you have the green card, yes, you are now citizen, yes, but has that erased the fact that the blood of your country is in your vein? Even when you are a citizen now in another country, you are there as a missionary. You are sent there as a missionary. It is nothing, it's not new. Europeans die in Africa as a missionary, so it's not new. If you come to this country and you have spent 35 years laboring, working, the question is, well, you are working, you are laboring, on whose credit? On whose credit? Because you may be working, you may be laboring, yes. God gave you all those jobs to do for the purpose of being a missionary. The ministry must still be there. That is the main purpose why the Lord allowed you to be in the foreign land. Daniel would have been forgotten if not that he stood for what he was brought to Babylon to do. Joseph would not have gotten a name if not that he stood for what he was taken to Egypt to do. Esther would have been forgotten if not that she stood for what she was taken to Persia to do. Yes, they belong to that place. They are citizens of that country. But at the same time, they did not lose the focus of their spiritual assignment in that land. So do you now see? So for being in another country, your assignment becomes two. For being in another country, your assignment becomes two. The spiritual revival of your nation of origin and the spiritual revival of your nation of residence. It becomes two. It means as you are here doing the work of God, doing your job, in your career, in your profession, your heart, inside your heart is mission. Everyone you come across, you are showing the light. Point one. Point number two, you have passion for the revival of the country where you are living, that you may live a peace and a quiet and peaceable life. Point number three, the nation where you came from to where you are now is still your responsibility. In the book of Nehemiah chapter 1, we are not reading it, but you can read at your time. He was a cupbearer to the king, and that was a prestigious assignment. He was a cupbearer in the king's palace, not in Katy. Was a cupbearer in the king's palace. Prestigious work to do. You know the meaning of cupbearer? Cupbearer. A cupbearer is the person, he must taste all wines that comes to the king's mouth to show that it's not poisoned. What a wonderful job. Before he served the king, there is his own cup that he must taste. And the king will see it, that he has tasted it. He pour from the king and taste before giving the king. Every sweet wine imported from Paris. As the king is tasting the wine, he had already drank the wine. And yet, if you look at the story of Nehemiah, he was sad because the walls of Jerusalem was down. He declared fasting for himself because the walls of Jerusalem and it has been burnt down. The gates have been burnt. Help and support. Let them give me wood. Let them give me timbers. And the king gave the order. Everything that was needed to build the walls, to build the gates, whatever he needed, the money, timber, everything was given to him by a non-believer king. Because he prayed. The job he was doing in that country was so pleasant. He ought to forget his land. But that is not the heart. That is not the heart that God expects from God's own people, from my people. God determined and he sent his people all over the world. The way he did in those days, he is still doing. If Joseph had not gone to Egypt, there will not be revival in Egypt. If Daniel had not gone to Babylon, there will be no revival in Babylon. Therefore,